What if your hardest moments weren't the end of your story, but the beginning of your reclamation? Welcome back to Voices of Impact, where we have honest conversations about leadership, healing, resilience, and the moments that transform who we become. Today's conversation is deeply human. It's about what happens when life changes unexpectedly, when your body, identity, and reality shift overnight, and the courage it takes to rebuild yourself from that place. So I'm honored to welcome Irene Vaksberg. Irene is a motivational speaker, business owner, mother, and hairstylist of more than 30 years who inspires thousands through her openness, vulnerability, and unwavering faith. After a devastating car accident and years of chronic pain, Irene found herself navigating not only physical suffering, but also the emotional weight of feeling disconnected from herself, her confidence, and the life she knew once. But instead of allowing pain to define her story, Irene chose a path of healing, faith, and radical resilience, which is very inspiring. Today, she shares her journey to remind others that difficult seasons do not erase your value, your purpose, or your ability to experience joy again. So, what makes this conversation especially powerful is what we both believe in, right? So, difficult moments, they do not define who you are and your identity. Healing requires both faith and self trust in yourself, and resilience is built through surrender, not perfection. In this episode, we'll explore what it truly means to reclaim yourself when life forces you to slow down, rebuild, and rediscover your strength. So great to have you on the show, Irene.
Oh my God, thank you so much. I'm sitting here almost tearing up listening to your introduction because, like, you described my journey in many, many ways. Thank you for having me here. I'm so honored.
Of course, so glad that you could share your story today. And, to all the listeners, I've connected with Irene outside of this, and she's wonderful, like her presence and
Oh,
her energy. And I'd love for others to see that, and we can all make an impact. So let's get into it. When you look back at your journey, can you share more about what moments most shaped the woman you are today, like the beautiful woman you are today?
couple come to mind almost instantly, and this may sound, not funny, but funny at the same time. Like, getting married was one of them, right? And I got, I got blessed to do it twice. And that means I had two divorces and we don't think about those things, but they do shape you, right? The moment you say, I do, you become a completely different person. And then when you say you don't, that's a whole other chapter that you have to break down and see why. And so those, like, that's where everything began, right? Per se. And then, of course, having children and becoming a mother and those things also create a different layer. And that was a beautiful moment. And something, I had a miscarriage and that was a difficult moment. And that changes the way you look at yourself and everything else that happens with you mentally, physically, emotionally within your body. And you go like, I had two beautiful babies and now this happening. And of course, owning my own business, that was another incredible moment. I had two incredible, difficult car accidents that taught me many different things and, what it means to be in those difficult moments and how to navigate them. And so again, and then if we really want to go deeper, I mean, my moment that I didn't even understand how my trajectory of my life is going to be was in 1979 when I came to this country as a little girl with speaking no English and that journey in itself. So it's not like it's one moment and this few different moments in our lives, they become helps us become who we are today, if that makes sense. Without those moments, I wouldn't be who I am.
Wow. Wow. No, first of all, so inspiring. Thank you for sharing your journey. I know it starts out with a painful moment and painful, but at the same time you learn from that. And it makes you into a stronger woman. Like you said, it's a series of moments. And at that time we wonder, like, why are we going through these things? But then you realize, like, it's actually going to shape us into the most resilient woman ever, right? And it's like we have that analogy of the diamond where the
Mhm.
universe God is they chisel you and you go through all this pain and suffering, but it's really for you to shine bright like a diamond, right? And I love how you went through all of these and you healed through it. And now you're here talking on a podcast and impacting other women and sharing your story. So kudos to you. And you're inspiring to me and everyone else out there.
Well,
So
thank you.
yeah, of course. And you've spoken about staying in faith, right, through the difficult moments. For you, how did spirituality and trust in God became how did it become anchors during your healing journey though during this time?
And this may sound really weird, or I mean, I should say weird, different
Yeah.
in itself, unique way. I had faith through my whole entire journey, right? It's just something that was really within me. And I just understood that, even when it was like the taboo, like I used to say, everything I needed was within me. Like I got it. I can handle it. But
Yep.
the true faith came to me in my second car accident where I had to actually surrender because I actually no longer believed in that faith for the first time in my life. I was so exhausting
Right.
going through those difficult moments, praying for something and nothing was coming my way. No one was answering. The
Right.
universe forgot about me. I felt like God didn't see me or hear me. And I would just like, whoever is up there,
Right.
please answer. So actually the big moment came at a moment where I was in my like second podcast and I wasn't even sure what I was talking about or how I was talking about it. And she asked me a similar question and I said, I gave up on the faith and the power of prayer and believing in higher power. And she said, Irene, you didn't. You actually surrendered. And that was a whole other conversation. The conversation was supposed to be 15 minutes, but it went almost an hour because what it means to surrender to me, because English is my second language. It's not the same thing that it's surrendering to you, to the higher power. I felt like I was a loser. I was unworthy when she said that surrendering to me, like giving up is one thing, but surrendering is like almost like, I saw this like prisoner of war and I'm like, but she explained it to me and I had to go deep dive. I surrendered to the higher power. I actually released the pain, the struggle. And for the first time I said, I can't do this anymore. And I asked for help. But do you see how one word changes the whole meaning of it all?
Yeah, exactly.
So
Yeah.
that's where my faith became even more stronger. I understood that I was never alone, that I was walking with God, that the higher power was there. They were just waiting for me to surrender and say, okay, come on, help me. Because I said, God, you made the decision. I've never done it because I am everything for myself. Like it's hard for me to ask for help. It's hard for me to show weakness in a sense, but now so many years later, that was actually the strongest I ever was.
Yeah. Wow. Wow. I mean, this is very I know, like, the fact that you're vulnerable, it's just really powerful right now, and a lot of people are listening. And yes, the word is surrender, and everything that you said hit me because that's exactly where I was 10 years ago when everything just fell apart, and anything I would do, I would just be hitting a wall. Like, "Why isn't anything working?" And I didn't 'cause I sometimes I feel like we're in that ego where we control every single outcome. And I wanted everything to go my way. And then I was like, nothing's ever happening for me. And I went to the temple and I went and prayed and I was like, God, like I'm giving up. Exactly what you said. I'm giving up. I don't know what to do. I'm leaving it to you. I literally surrendered that day and I'm like, you tell me what to do. You tell me what path to take. And at the end of the day, that was when, like 10 years ago, I knew God was always in my favor and everything was happening for a reason. And God was like, you know what? Trust in me, surrender to me, and I will move you forward. And here I am today, making an impact, leaving a legacy, and I've gone places in my life, and God's always been with me, or the universe, right? And that
Yeah.
key word is surrender. And I know for high achieving women, it's very difficult. At times, I think we still have that. We always need to know what's certain, what's the next step, what's the next plan. And it's a very difficult thing to do. But when you leave it to the universe, you have to think of the universe or God as your father figure, right? So when you look at your father, we kind of be like, hey, I know you're going to protect and provide for me. That's how God is that you have fun, right? That's what he wants. He wants you to have fun and live in joy and become the strongest woman or man and have that resilience and keep walking unapologetically, and he'll provide at the right time, right? So it's all about surrendering to his path because his path is not what your path is, right? You just have to let know that and understand that and accept that. So love what you said, and I'm pretty sure a lot of people can resonate who are in their healing journey right now because they want sometimes when they talk to some people they just don't understand it or they
Yeah.
don't feel seen. And I think that's why, you make others feel seen and heard by sharing
Thank
your
you.
story. So
I
it's
hope
very,
I hope so. I hope so. And that's why I do it. And when I decided to start sharing my journey,
yeah.
I had just to kind of sit there and like, how am I going to do this? This is not who I am. I don't want to do this. Like, the PTSD of bullying came about. Like, I sound different. I don't speak proper English. I make up words sometimes. Who's going to listen to me? Even though that never bothered me. I built a successful business, even though I was told that nobody's going to sit in my chair, right? Nobody's going to listen to a hairdresser that sounds funny. But I knew that I felt so alone that I didn't want others to feel alone. And my mission, my purpose, my why was bigger than any bullying. And actually, or those thoughts that came back as a little girl that actually while I was sharing for others in return, it gave me so much, so much, so much more.
Yeah.
Literally like by speaking it out, my pain, I
Mhm.
started to heal from that without even realizing it. Like, because I was letting go that burden of that heaviness and I live in the secret and pretending to smile. Right. So, and
Right.
then I got all these messages. I'm like, okay, I'm going to continue doing. It doesn't matter how many people watching. I had no audience and I wasn't looking for that audience. I knew that it's just that one person that needed to hear my message and maybe I'll make them feel better. Right.
Yes, absolutely. And anyone who's bullied you or anyone who's been bullied, I've been there as well. A lot of us, they don't know what they're doing, right? We're here, we're inspiring, and we're authentic. They just have a facade. It's on them. It's nothing to do with us. And
Yeah.
when we learn that we just have to put our blinders on and there's a purpose. And I love what you said is going back to our why. That's bigger than all of these stories, right? That's what God is telling us is you have a purpose. You're not meant to be like them, the traditional path. You're here to be a trailblazer. And this is your
Mhm.
purpose. This is your why. You just have to follow what God has for you and you will go places, even if it might take time. And there's going to be noise and bullying, but we have to just understand why we're here. And that's why
Yeah.
it's really important in any time of difficult moments. That's why we go into ourselves, right? Just kind of go into hermit mode, go into that meditation, prayer, and listen to your gut, listen to what God is saying. What is He saying? And it's like, oh, wait, I'm back here. This is my why. I'm supposed to be visible and share my story. And, coming the fact that you're here sharing your story is a big deal. I know a lot of women still hesitate, like, should I say this? Should I share my story? I still struggle with that, right? But that's where you really own your voice. And the more you own your voice, it reaches the lot of the women who are like, oh my God, Irene, like I'm there. I'm currently going through this pain. Currently going through this healing. Like you just made my day and you're an inspiration, right? So
Yes.
thank you for sharing your story and being such an inspiration for a lot of women out there,
Thank you.
including me, because it's not easy going through all of this and still being like, hey, you know what? I'm unapologetically me. I'm here to pursue my legacy and my mission. And even if it's that one person, and don't worry, it's not just one person, you're impacting so many, I'm pretty sure. And you've been on so
Thank
many
you.
podcasts already. So that's what you're here to do. So
Yeah.
everything happens for a reason. And you're a
Yes.
diamond, right? You're a goddess,
Yep.
you're a diamond. And God, when it's a diamond, like I said, when you're a goddess, that there's a reason why we go through these pain and suffering. So
Yeah. Yes.
absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that it's, It's just right now at this moment, everything is like full circle. So my first car accident, I actually had life after death experience. I went through the tunnel. I saw the light. And then I had a conversation with God. And, I was in this room seeing my life on a movie projector, and he touched my shoulder and said, you're not supposed to be here yet. You need to go back. You need to learn. You need
Yeah.
to teach, you need to guide people to their higher power, into the light. And I didn't understand any of that, what that meant. Only like now I understand what I was supposed to do. I knew I had to learn. I knew I had to teach. Well, teach. I didn't know how I was going to teach, but the lessons came and the opportunity came to teach really quickly. And, the second car accident is the reason was the first one, and it's full circle. And here I am sharing my story. And that is the teachable moment. My difficult moment was my lesson. And, I also believe things happen for a reason. And I always felt like I've never, ever in my life said, why me? Only until the second car accident. But I always felt God chose me because he knew that even if I'm struggling, I'll still get to the other side. And I will, share the knowledge of it all. So that message came when I was 23 years old. It took 30 years to understand the assignment.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
So because the only way to understand the assignment is actually remember the assignment and actually lean into the pain and, heal through it. Right. And then share it. But, bumps in the road that I forgot the assignment and things happen. I also believe the universe hears you, the words, but
Yeah.
if there's no action, it still hears you. So my difficult moments that could have been avoided, but I don't believe anything should have been avoided. It happened exactly how it's supposed to, because I'm supposed to be here. But what I'm saying is that our problems are very small and we don't take care of them. And then from that little tiny issue or problem, a dinosaur comes out of it, right? And then we can't control a dinosaur. It's too big for us. And that's kind of how I relate to my journey, is that I had issues in my business and my friendships. I had to reorganize everything, and I didn't for whatever reason. And I know, I'm loyal. It's hard for me to say no, cut the
Right.
umbilical cord. So what did the universe do? Because I procrastinated in it. Not only it took the best part of my business, it took everything away pretty much. It didn't take just one friend. It took all friends away from me.
Yeah.
Not that they wanted to go. I pushed them away, some of them, because I wasn't happy. So it's just kind of how, but I learned that lesson, and now I can say, look, please don't procrastinate. And that's
Yeah.
how I'm guiding people to the power, to showing them they can do it too. So again, the lessons from the first car accident, second car accident, coming it all together, the faith, the mindset is restored. But it wasn't easy. I've given up many times. And I guess the most important thing I want to say to you is that feel every feeling, right? We try to put it, that's, what is it called? And actually last year on LinkedIn, this beautiful woman, I can't think of her name right now. She wrote a post about toxic happiness. And when I read all of that, I was like, that's the name. That's the
Mhm.
name. And I kept on saying, you didn't know the name of it. And I was telling people, like, lean into the pain, stop putting a smile when you want to cry, get angry, have that pity party. And I had many of them, and that makes you feel better. It actually gives you freedom to move even more forward, because we're not holding to that heaviness of our disappointment and pain. Sorry, I get so excited. I don't know where to
Sorry.
stop talking.
No, every single thing you're saying is just real, right? And it's so raw. I love what you said is feel into the pain, feel everything.
Feel
Because
everything.
because that's where I was, right? And a lot of women I think can resonate, even men listening to this. And
Sure.
I tend to like suppress and avoid my feelings because until recently, actually, and I was like taught to not feel it and just have a mask and, be bold and so I would kind of like distract myself with work. And recently, as I'm healing, I was just feeling it. I was like, if I want to cry, I cry. I'm
Yeah.
just like, why do I feel this? What am I going through? Nothing's working again. I'm trying my hard. And the more I was just grieving everything that I was going through, I realized I suppressed it. And when I was feeling it, I was like, I just released it. Like all the
Yeah,
toxins in your body, sometimes you just have to release it. And that's the emotional healing piece.
that's
Right. And
right.
I was like, that's why nothing, sometimes I would attract emotion unavailable people. And I was like, why
Yes,
do it keeps coming in? Because maybe I'm emotionally unavailable, right? Like whoever you attract, you have to heal within yourself. And now, especially this weekend, I was actually doing that. I was feeling into it. I was tired. I wanted to rest. I'm like, let me not avoid it. Let me feel it and let me take the action, which is like resting. So it's very important. That's how you heal. And the more you realize it and you journal it, whatever way that you can channel it, it feels really good. And it's so important that what you said was a very important message because nowadays, people are just working and executives listening to there's like, no, we'll do it later. I love how you said the procrastination, but the cost is higher later. And God is like, nope, you're going to go to the hospital. You're going to do this. And I still tell my family, like, please take care of your health. It's very first priority. Like, be proactive on that. And these are just lessons. So every small thing that comes into your life, like Irene said, is a lesson or a blessing, right? Every situation, every person you meet, there were things that, like, even jobs wise, that it didn't work out. And I'm like, okay, what is this teaching me? What is the lesson? I have to go back inward. And the more you do your inner healing, the more you overcome that and you align, the better opportunities align, right?
yeah.
So, very important, powerful messages here.
And I just want to just touch one little thing still on this, especially for men, right?
Yeah.
It's not weakness to cry. It's actually your superpower, and women really appreciate that. It's not
Right.
so please, we want that vulnerability from our partner. We want to hear the pain and the sadness and the happiness. Together we are stronger. And the only way to, because, I had to fail. Well, there's no failure for me. Lessons through both of my marriages and whatever another relationship I had is that if you're not open with your partner, there's no success. If you don't share and show emotions, and one of my partners said, "Well, men don't cry." I said, "That's a silly thing." It's like, "Well, that show weakness." I said,
Yeah.
"It shows strength," but boys are taught differently than girls. So, if you're a man out there, please cry. I give you
Yeah.
permission.
Yeah. I love what you
Set
said. And
yourself free. Set yourself free.
yeah,
Cry. Cry.
yeah, absolutely. Actually, I think it's very attractive when men
Yes.
cry 'cause it
Yeah.
shows like you're real, right?
And maturity.
Yeah, and every man I've talked to is just because I had that father figure, like they would never talk about it. And I was just kind of pushing. I'm like, why am I pushing it? Like, this is not how it's supposed to be. And I think a part of me was like that too, right? That emotional unavailability. So I had to heal that. And now I talk to men who are actually showing it like, hey, I'm struggling. I'm going to therapy. I'm going to do
I
this, right?
loved yes.
So you have to heal within yourself. It starts from within you. And the more you heal, you'll realize you get better relationships or people or in your workplace clients who are like matching that new you and that new frequency, right? But it
Absolutely.
all starts with you because a lot of people think it's like external, but it's internal first and then external, right? And I see, and even now, we're talking. There's a reason God has brought us together because you've healed, I've healed. We're kind of in the same energetic frequency, and we're having
Yeah.
this conversation. And there's a reason for that. So, and then for men
Absolutely.
lately, there's more men coming on the podcast and
But that's
they're
great.
actually sharing their vulnerable stories. And I was like, "Oh my goodness, like a true masculine," because I've seen toxic masculinity in my life completely. And I was like, it's really nice to see more healthy masculine men really sharing their story, like you said, crying, being more vulnerable, and having similar conversations that we are having and how to really be because of that, how to truly be authentic leader and truly be successful in life and in their business, right? So,
Absolutely.
yeah, and that's what's needed more in this collective now, and I love seeing that. So, absolutely. Love this conversation. So, yes, I know you approach healing from a very practical and energetic perspective, which I love. So, how do these two worlds complement each other in your philosophy and work? Because I know that you are a consultant with Super Patch. So,
Yes.
let's hear more about that.
So, I've always been more natural person that like more natural healing. options. I wasn't really into like medicine, and like I try not to, ever take, nothing against Tylenol. It's all good. I have it. We all need it sometimes, but health is wealth. And I've
Yes.
always tried to take care of myself and always exercising and trying to eat healthier, vegan, not vegan. I used to be vegan, vegetarian. So really cleaned up my diet. And after the car accident, the second one, all of that was more intensified. My health it was never not my wealth anymore. And because I lived in a lot of pain and sadness and overwhelming feeling, lost a very successful hairdressing business as a single mother. And, mental health was in a gutter, physical health was the same way. And like I said, I was struggling to make ends meet from going from very successful business, making tremendous amount of money to almost nothing, losing it overnight. It wasn't easy. So I prayed a lot. I mean,
Yeah.
that's the best way I can explain to you until I couldn't pray anymore. I had to become my own doctor because doctors were just prescribing me meds that really didn't work, got me more depressed and high, and did not much for me. And so I had to figure out what to do in the midst of taking really heavy duty drugs. And so like, I can't speak. It takes me to this really empty space again. I didn't know what to do, because everything that used to work for me, healthy diet, meditation, affirmations, no longer worked because the pain was so intense. And there was nothing in the market that could ease my pain or helped me. And again, the spirituality was gone as well. So I basically prayed to go 8 years ago because I could not handle anymore. The doctors neglected my pain management. And I went from worse to worse. I went from dark moment to the darkest moment. I went from hope to hopeless. And my neurology was in such a flight and fight that it could not handle the pain. I finally actually found one doctor that said, Irene, not that you're okay. Something neurologically is happening to you. The part of the brain that cannot handle the pain, cannot handle this anymore. I had to release it, and it released in the shaking and spasms. And you have to see it to understand it. It was so intense that I shook like my head is gonna come off of my body. It was very painful. So, and doctors had no options for me. And again, the holistic approach also wasn't working anymore. And I was just looking for something natural. And I got tired of poking and probing and x-rayed and MRI. And so I prayed for something special because I was so tired. God told me that again, for the second time in my life, God says, I'm not in my time. I'm not taking you. So that's where the spirituality comes from. That part of, God looking after me in a very spiritual way and says, I'm not going to you may be giving up. I didn't understand the word surrender yet, but I'm going to want to push you to fight for your life and say that last prayer. And I'm like, what am I praying for? And
Mhm.
that I was praying for hope. I was
Yeah.
praying for change. I was praying for strength, even though I didn't believe it. So I was very specific, and that's how this technology came into my life. I wasn't looking for it. I was just wanted to have a little bit less pain because I couldn't function. And doctors told me wheelchair was waiting for me. And it was dark because I couldn't see how I'm going to cut hair. And what really connected me to the spiritual aspect of it, all of my last prayer is that I said finally that, and I think that's where my prayer answered. Remember how we were talking about that God's waiting to give
Yeah.
you what you need, not what you want? Is that I said, I will share it with others. I said, I will share, not that just that you gave me that miracle that I didn't believe in, but that you answered it when I didn't believe in you. Like that was the testimony for me that I gave up on you, but you never given up on me. And as I prayed for that miracle that is drug free, non-invasive, and the mission and the purpose and the passion, like I have conversation with God. And yeah, I said to him, you know how we do it in my chair. It's a therapy session. It's a fundraiser. It's a community. And I said, that's what I want. And this, and I released it. And I said, go ahead. I surrender. You make the choice. I did that last prayer, that emotional prayer, to let God leave me alone and just take me, because I didn't want my daughter to take care of me. She was 12. Like, she's already was taking care of me. Could not imagine for her that I would be a burden, right? Like, I would say
Mhm.
if I go, she cries, and yeah, life goes on, right? Like, life goes on eventually. But I felt like I was giving a present prison sentences. Again, nothing wrong with the wheelchair, but it was just not for me. Like, if I cannot take care of me, that made me, even in my worst pain, I still, with the cane or walker, I could get myself to, the living room. So
Yeah.
yeah, that's it. And it got answered. And what I've also learned, that when we pray, we have to pray with open heart and open mind. We have to trust the process. I said no for 4 months because I didn't want to be disappointed again, and the only people who can understand this has been through pain, that we've made peace with our pain. We know how to deal. We know how to fake it. We know how to be in that toxic happiness while our body's on fire. But to be disappointed again would be more painful, because we're already waiting for that disappointment. But this was not disappointment. It was answered. And yeah, here we are. I share my testimony, and I have a product that gave me my quality of life. It's exactly what I prayed for. It actually more that I prayed for: the community, the support, the encouragement, the beautiful people that I have met, and the beautiful people that works with me, So it is a business, but for me, it's more of a mission, and it's a
Yeah.
gift from God. So I don't treat it like a business per se. Like, I don't recruit. I want to change your life, and I want your life to be changed. And then I want you to come and help with me. So yeah, sorry. It's very emotional,
Of
because
course.
it is bigger than a business. It gives hope to others. And if I know that if I can just give you a little less pain, that brings a little bit more joy, not just to you, but also to the family. We forget about how pain affects not just the person that is in pain,
Yeah.
but everyone around you, right? Family, friends. You have to hide, you have to say no. And as you say no, the people go away and go away. They forget to check on you. So what I have is magical. What I have is hope. What I have is God's gift for me and the world. And I share it every single day. And, I every day go back to my why. And, you ask me how I start doing this, is because of that. The why is bigger than
Yeah.
any of my inconveniences. And I need the world to know that if it's not my miracle, continue praying for yours more mindfully. And that's what I learned. I had to pray with more mindfulness and more gratitude, even if I didn't, even if I didn't receive that gift. I stopped. I prayed in anger, not peace. And that was the biggest understanding, that I had to find that peace and the last prayer was peace, because I was ready to go. I know it sounds all crazy. I gave you so much, but there's so many feelings and emotion, but it all becomes one.
Right. Wow. Wow. You're such a beautiful soul. I'm so glad you're here and you're
Thank you.
okay. And, you deserve the best. And I love how vulnerable you are. And you're here today and you just have such a big heart that you're praying for others.
Thank
And
you.
right now, like those tears really show how much you care about others and your vision and your mission. I'm sure you will go places, like I said, it's really about that. And that's why you're God's child, right? We're both God's child and we're here to help others. I'm so glad that you listen to God and God gave you something that you need. And it's like a miracle, of course, but he really gave you that solution to get better. And yeah, with sometimes like even with doctors, they say like do this and do that. And I've been there myself with health issues and like nothing ever worked. But when you know how strong faith is and prayer is, and even till today, I just went to the temple yesterday and I was just praying. I don't know how and I don't know when things are gonna happen, but look at us, right? Suddenly you came into my life and we're having this conversation. We're already connected. And I'm so glad that, God's helped you and you're here to help others and, keep being the beautiful soul you are.
Oh,
This is
thank you.
a moment for me as well because it feels fulfilling to have these conversations on this podcast and you really owning your voice and owning your story. And when people hear this, they're going to be like, "Oh my god, Irene, like I can really relate, I can resonate." And I felt seen when you said this and there's hope, right? Not only
Yeah.
did God give you
Yes.
hope, now God is like, Irene, I want you to give hope to other women out there. There's so many around globally that are listening to this. And that's what you're meant to do. And this is the impact. And that's it, right? That's all it
Yeah,
really is, life. And
absolutely.
yeah, and I'm so glad that you're here to inspire others. So thank you so much for sharing this story. I know it's been super painful. I'm so sorry, but at the end of the day, it's made you in such a powerful, strong woman here. And that's what you're here to do, right? So,
And absolutely. And the reason, it made me, yes, every story that I shared made me who I am today, brought me to this beautiful moment. And then sadly, the only way we do learn is through pain. If I would have taken care of business, right, the car accident might have not happened. The universe would send me something different. I don't know, but for me, there's no regrets. There's no mistakes. There's only lessons and blessings. And I'm sitting in blessings and, not, and lessons. And my most difficult moment will be some inspiration to someone else. And that's why I also do it, that every single story matters. And that's why you are, as a host, is so important for us, because without you, our stories don't go as wide. So I am extremely grateful to you as well, to picking my story, to seeing something maybe special that said, okay, I'm going to have another conversation with Irene. And I hope I encourage others to share theirs. And, when you really understand my story, when people say, oh my God, but your story is so big. Look how you lived. Look what happened to you. But it doesn't matter, because sometimes my story is not relatable, right? Because it's so big. If you're saying you had back pain and you got rid of it, I had so many levels of pain. And what I'm saying, don't minimize it, that you can help somebody that has back pain or knee pain or struggling being seen or second language, right? Like, I also do this because I want to show that if you speak a bilingual and you sound maybe funny to someone else, show up even bigger. That's a gift. I was told that my accent is a gift, not a curse that I thought it would be.
actually, it
So,
is.
so
Yeah.
I show up and show, if you're a single mother, right? I am a single mother most of my life. I successfully created my dream, owning my own salon and having 9 people working for me, right? So I want to show, and that's why I do it also, right? To show. So there's so many layers to my journey and inspiration that all of it matters, right? Single mom, immigrant, car accident, conversation with God, losing, rebuilding. And I mean, there's so much more in between. We can have 5 more podcasts, raising children that have needs and become a grandma at 40, right? Like, there's so much, but life is beautiful. I'd say it would be boring if I didn't have bumps in the road. And again, we only learn when there's some difficult moments and your boat is being, shook a little bit. The storm is important because at the end of it, there's a rainbow. So we value the rainbow more after we go through the storm. So everything, the journey, embrace every part of it. Your difficult moment doesn't define you. It becomes your superpower.
I love this message. And that was actually my next question because, yes, every single thing you go through, because in the beginning, we're like, oh my God, the pain is just super hard. But
Yeah.
then once you are able to overcome it, that's your breakthrough. And you look back
Yeah.
at it and you're like, wait, now I understand why this happened. And even for me, like I used to
Yeah.
always ask, why me? Like, I used to compare like everyone else's easy life, right? But now I come back and I'm like, look at where I am today. Like, and I'm God's child, right? God is always there for us. It looks like he's let us go, but it's not, right? And there's always a saying, like in the Indian thing, that my parents would always tell me that God, sometimes he might give you a lot of suffering in the beginning, but he'll never let you go. And he'll take you places far, later
Yeah.
on in the long term. And now I understand that. Even till today, like there's nothing in our control. Every small thing. And like you said, I love how you said sometimes we think it's a curse. I've also been in a car accident myself, and that's how things started for me right after that time. And then I realized like maybe it was a gift, right? Even now, sometimes I get illnesses, or I sometimes think to myself, wait a minute. And then I was like, no, God wants me to slow down. There's a reason for that, right?
Yeah.
And it's a preparation for your breakthrough.
Yeah.
That's why these things happen. I've been through toxic relationships, and but it was to
Absolutely.
prepare me to heal. And once it's a long journey, but it's you turn your purpose and you turn that pain into purpose and power. And you realize like you inspire so many people and just by being yourself. You just have to
Absolutely.
be yourself. You don't even have to work hard, right? I used to think I had to work so hard to make an impact, and I was in my masculine energy. Now I'm also realizing, which is why I started the podcast, is be yourself unapologetically, own your life, own your business, own your voice, and just share your story. And that's all, that's enough, right?
Yes, and also share your story authentically. Look, I got
Yeah.
up, my hair is maybe a little messy, you know, but so we are, for me personally, what I see, there's a lot of polished people out there and it's perfect, right? And sometimes we can relate to that polishedness. And I come out with t-shirts and sometimes messy hair, no makeup, and I just share from the heart. It's okay. And
Yeah.
the more authentic you are, and people waiting for that perfect moment to figure out their story. I started, I had no clue public speaking is not for me. Like I never wanted it. And the more real it became, like I would like, oh, you need to write a script. I'm like, I don't have a script. Like people say,
Yeah.
what is your pitch? I said, I have do you have the 30-second elevator pitch? I said, no, I have a thesis, right? Like I don't have that. And it's not that's not how I do it. I want to show you the emotional human connection that's missing. I'm not selling you anything. I want you to trust me, understand, and what I have for you is inspiration and motivation first. And my
Yeah.
story is one of resilience. And I want you to know that you're also going to be that resilient. So the more authentic you are, like I tell people, throw away the script, speak from the
Right.
heart. You know what you need to do. Like stop copy and paste, right? Like, I mean, you take a course and then you have 30 videos that sound the same way. And I say, break that, throw that away, just come out and press the button and speak from the heart. And we're missing that ethnicity. I can't pronounce it. So do you see, I still say it. Like, for instance, like a LinkedIn, right? I was so afraid of it.
Yeah.
Because to me, it's so professional and I am professional in my own hot mess. And people say, like, what are you doing on LinkedIn? I said, I'm being me. I dance, I sit, I don't sing, I dance, I move, I just come in, I write with, run on sentences. Like, why? Like, aren't you like, one person said, aren't you embarrassed? I said, embarrassed of what? Me being my authentic self. I
I
said, trust
know.
me, my
Yeah.
post gets 300 to 400 views because I am authentic. And I got messages, you're fresh breath. We need you here because it's so like,
Yeah.
suit and tie. And I stand out as a sore thumb. So I encourage you to stand out as a sore thumb. Now I love LinkedIn. I made beautiful connections. I show up myself and people like, oh, you give me a little bit of permission to be who I am. And that's
Right.
sad to me. And I'm just get bigger and bigger in myself, being comfortable with who I am, showing up as I am. Look, there's a place to be proper and I know, and I do it. But what the bigger picture is that like, remember that little child within yourself that used to like, dance like no one is watching, eating that ice cream all over your face, like allow that to come through a little bit. It's not all about acting like CEO with heart. I don't know, with more kindness, a little bit like,
Exactly.
I don't know if I explain, just relax, like take a chill pill and bring a little bit into that
Right.
strictness, a little bit of more relaxation, enjoy. Life will be a little bit more joyful, right? That human
Yeah.
touch is
Yeah.
missing no matter where you are. And I'm like, just relax, smile a little
Exactly.
bit.
Oh my Yeah, I love how you're just so authentic. That's the thing. Wherever you go, especially LinkedIn is,
Right?
I
I
mean,
described
LinkedIn
it
is so
perfectly.
professional.
So
You did.
professional.
It was right on point. I was just sitting there myself and I'm like, no, like I just show up like this with no makeup. And they're like, oh,
Yeah.
like you're real. And I'm like, yes. So why
Yes.
not? Like, be the first people to be authentic. Like, so what? I mean, being an executive coach, I talked to a lot of executives in Fortune 500 companies, and they're like, I don't know if I should post this article, Vina. Like, I don't know if I should say this. I don't know if I should say that. And I'm like, no, you can. What would happen? Maybe you might not get likes, or, the wrong people might not like you. What if the right people admire you and they want to be like you, right? Why don't you like think about it that way? And the
Yeah,
more you're yourself, I love what she said, another great powerful message. You give the permission to others to be themselves. And
yeah,
just, you don't have to be perfect or polished. And you know how many people I see are still using scripts? Like one woman, she was telling me, like, we don't have to do like talking head videos, and I have to like practice every 5 minutes and put it on. They're putting content. And I was just thinking about this yesterday, and I was like, you don't have to perform, right? And I'm all about not performing. And that's why we're having this conversation. I was like, if you want to bring a dog, bring your dog in. Or if you want to like just be yourself, right?
yeah,
Just wear a
yeah.
t-shirt, right? And I love that about you, Irene. Like, and just share your energy, share who you
Yeah,
are. And the right people see it. The wrong people might not like it. So what?
yeah,
Right. And
yeah. And
exactly.
so one thing I'm going to say from LinkedIn, this lady said to me, and there was a gentleman as well, is like, this is not TikTok. And I said, well, why not? Why can't we bring a little bit, like they send me
Exactly.
private message. This is so unprofessional. You shouldn't be here. This is not TikTok. I said, I'm
God.
exactly where I belong. I said, maybe you need a little TikTok in your life. So come dance with me. They were just I was like, why do imagine you seeing all this really strict posts and like business, like, and then this is me. It's time to dance. It's time to celebrate. Let's go celebrate yourself. It's Friday. Like I have all of that. Like there's nothing. I make one video and it goes
Right.
everywhere. And why
Yeah.
not? And especially in the high coaching and high pressure job, we all need to dance. Like we need to all count our
Exactly.
blessings. We all need to celebrate the baby steps. The society and that high achieving human being only celebrates the big steps, but the little tiny steps brought you to that big step. And what I have learned that 99% people never get to there because they forget the journey. They
Right.
forget to enjoy. They forget to celebrate because they feel they're not worthy of that celebration because they haven't accomplished everything on their list. But me saying is you have too many things on your list and you personally is not even on that list. One person cannot do 20 things a day. It's just impossible, right? Especially when
Right.
you have a husband, significant other, children. So I'm like, throw that list away and do it from the heart. I know exactly what I need to do every morning. I don't need a list. And I've encouraged people to kind of lean more into their authentic self, into their heart and soul purpose. But again, there's so much structure is taught. If you don't do it in this box, it doesn't work. And I'm telling you, if you do out of the box, it will work even more. Like, I don't know, just be, what you know. You've been doing the same thing. And if you're not getting results, so then go come and dance with me
Yeah.
on LinkedIn and see what happens. Let's be a little
Oh my
bit less
God.
less strict and more joy, right? Like less rigid,
Yeah.
more be like a
Exactly.
noodle, or like my daughter goes, be like a box of jelly beans, colorful and rolling.
Yeah. Oh my God. You're great. You're amazing,
Oh,
Irene. Like,
thank you.
I love how you were like, hey, like, why don't you have some fun on the person who was like, reaching out and saying like you don't belong here. That's exactly you, right? That's
Yeah, that's where I
unapologetic.
belong. Exactly. And the
Yeah.
thing is that my purpose is made. What she saw in me, she's afraid to show in herself. So my
Ex-
courage going on LinkedIn, let's dance. She wants that, but somebody told her that she has to be in this box.
Exactly.
Somebody
Right.
dimmed her light. And I said, find your inner child, and then, with my spelling, the same thing. I've heard, well, this is a professional platform. So please learn, maybe you need to learn how to write a little bit better before you write here. And I'm like, but did you understand the message? You obviously read everything I said. You understand it. And maybe if I wrote it so properly, might not have this conversation with me. So
Right.
do you see how it all evolves? And I can talk about this for another 3 hours. But and so LinkedIn, shake it up a little bit. Shake it up
Yeah.
a
I
little
mean,
bit.
this is live streaming on LinkedIn. Please,
Yeah.
people, listen to this. Like, enjoy it. I love how you're saying inner child. Like, really enjoy the moment. even like recently, I was doing like some copy for a landing page, and this one person came in. She was like, "Yeah, write it this way and write it that way, and it needs to like, put it out there marketing." And I was like, I'm just really like being myself. It doesn't have to be perfect and rigid. It's the messaging, and people resonated with it easily. Even the podcast, like, do you have this ready? That ready? And like, but you have this page and this thumbnail. And I'm like, no, like, I just am being myself. I'm doing this for a reason. I just want to like enjoy the moment, enjoy the conversation. And it has reached a lot of people, right? So
Yeah,
it's really coming from a place of the purpose, the authentic, the intention behind it. It doesn't have to be all polished and scripted and perfect. I used to be a perfectionist. So I used to think everything has to be really nice and pretty, but people don't want that. And I love how you said, like, I gave her the courage because internally that's what she wanted.
that's
Yeah,
right.
exactly. That's why they're judging you because they're like, Irene's doing something that I can't, that I'm scared to do,
That's
right?
right.
And you gave her like, well, do it. Girl. I'm here to support you, woman. Like,
Yeah.
like, and I was like, and I'm sitting here like, yo, like, this is what I'm looking for, right? Irene's like the best. And that we
Thank
need
you.
more women like you, right? And that's what it is. It's when you're truly authentic. And I love what you said about, preparing for podcasts, like you don't need a script or it's not an elevator pitch, right? Because I was in corporate and it was always about interview questions and getting jobs. It just didn't work for me. Like I was like, I don't want to just follow a script or answer questions. Like I get to do whatever I want, right? I'm a trailblazer. I don't fit in a box. I
That's
ask
right.
questions, and that's why I started my own company and my own entrepreneurship because I want to start something for other people. Like you don't have to fit in that box, and give the permission for others to just be unapologetically themselves. And that's what this is all about. I mean, when you live authentically, you're free.
You're
Like
free.
you said, you're
Yeah.
liberated, you're free. You can do with however you want.
And
So
even more important, when you stop allowing other people's opinions to rule your life, right? We don't live for us. We live for other people's opinion. And I've
yeah,
learned in a young age because I've always broke the rules. I'm like the black sheep in the family.
exactly.
Well, I stopped saying that. I actually just walked to my own beat of the drum and that's it. And I never cared what people thought about me. You don't pay my rent, so stop taking room in my head,
Right.
right?
No, I
So so that's it. And then when we understand that it's your journey, it's your life, and nobody really has a say to it. Well, critical, conversations are fine. I don't mind when people say, well, Irene, I love what you're doing, but maybe this week, kind criticism is fine, right? But not it's okay. I listen to people and I've
right.
improved tremendously. I've taken classes in how to speak and communicate, but they always said, don't lose your spark.
Exactly.
Don't lose your authentic speaking, but blend it a little bit this way. So it's perfect. Like always learning, but don't forget
Exactly.
who you are. We want to get better. Perfection is overrated. Perfection is procrastination. So, I know friends, they're still waiting for their perfect business card. They've had 6, 7 different business cards. They're still not perfect. Like they're not changing lives. They're not inspiring. I don't
Mhm.
even know it's like whatever, right? Like show up. You are your own business card, you personally, right? It's not even about the product that you're promoting. People have to trust, believe in you, and see if you're consistent. And let
Right.
me give you one. I know we're almost done. Just want to say one more thing. Don't worry about who liking or not. My number one supporters never liked my post, never commented on my post, never shared that post, but they support me. They purchase from me. They've sent me referrals. They just never, they're like the silent partner that gave you $1 million and just
Right.
watching you
Yeah.
grow. So don't worry about all of that. The people that liking and sharing may not support you the same way as they're supporting in a completely different way. So don't worry. It's not about how many likes. It's actually
Exactly.
how consistent you are without them. That's where you grow and that's where you thrive. So
Wow.
yeah,
Wow.
that's kind of how I see it. When you talked about the interviews, like sometimes, the big bosses asking wrong questions, like, what is your 5-year goal? Like like, I don't know. Who knows that, right? Tomorrow could be a different goal. Like, I just feel like
Exactly.
people interview should be more like, what's your favorite food? What is your hobbies? To understand how this person lives. So the
Right.
position can be more molded into them so they can do more for you, you know. The
Yeah,
culture, the corporate culture, and I have a lot of friends in it, like, needs to be a little bit more relaxed and more authentic, more healing. It's so rigid, you burn out, and the people become unhappy. So I hope that we get a little bit more reinventing that kind of a structure. I think happier people will produce more
exactly.
results.
Right. The more authentic, the more you
Yes.
thrive and you're more in joy and you're
Yeah.
able to you have more energy, right? Like even
Yeah.
business people told me like do the business this way. I said 4 years in. And now I completely rebranded it. And I'm just like, let me just follow my heart and follow what God's telling me right now. And
That's right.
it's doing beautifully, right? I'm just having more fun. And the more fun, universe speaks to you. And they're like, oh, I see Vina's having more fun. I see Irene's having fun. They're connecting. Let's, build a collective. Let's help them rise and, build that legacy.
That's
And
right.
that's what it really is. And I love every message you said. It's very powerful.
Yeah, I was in this I'm always doing challenges and things like that, and this gentleman was talking about like hiring or looking for partnership. We're always looking to collaborate with people, and he said, who would you want to work with? Somebody said, oh my God, welcome to the team, I'm so excited for you, like, we're going to change lives. Or somebody goes, welcome to the team, this is what you need to do, this is the steps, right? Rigid, right? There's no excitement, it's like a boom, boom, boom. Or somebody has that energy, walk in. Are you excited now? I'm excited for you. This is going to be amazing. Like, the energy that you bring is also really important. And we attract people that, people attracted to that higher, happy energy.
Yeah.
Right? Most of us, right? They may be afraid of it, but people want to be around joyful people. People want to work with people that really enjoy their jobs. So the
Yeah.
environment within, if it's 9 to 5, yeah, that needs to be the same, even network marketing. And I think that's the blessing from God for all of us. The same thing. Be careful how you pick the team. Be careful how you pick the company. Who is your upline? Who is your leader? Who is you linking up with it? Are they showing up? Are they doing what they say? All of that is so important because you're going to spend a lot of time with that person. So,
Exactly. Yeah.
it's important because
Yes.
the energy vibrates from the person you hanging out with, right?
Yes, absolutely. Even when you're in corporate or entrepreneur, knowing who you're protective of your energy, being intentional
Yeah.
about the work culture, the workplace, like you said, having super rigid do this, which is it's fine. It's nothing wrong with it, but the
No,
same
no, no.
like that, yeah, the
Blend,
energy of like have so
blending
yeah.
it. A little bit of fun, a little bit of, organization, and you're good to go.
Yeah, exactly, and that's how people thrive, and also really understanding what your employees need or your clients need or your community, right? And,
Yeah,
really serving from a place of abundance and not scarcity, like, "I
that's
need
right.
this, I need that," and that's made a difference for me, right? I'm just freely giving. I'm just even in my, Sovereign Rise collective we're starting, I'm just feel like, "Hey, here's some resource," and I love how you talked about the true supporters because I just was thinking about this yesterday that some people have so many likes, but it's not about the likes. It's like that one or a few people who are truly like, "Hey, let me give you a referral." They show it in actions,
That's
right?
right.
Like, let me like put yourself out there. Let me do the outreach for you. Let me find things for you. Let me really like truly support you and lead with you and grow with you. Like, what do you need at this time? And it's really the actions more than just like, hey, I hit a like, because I've had some people back then who gave me the likes, but they were like, when I needed them, they were like, no, I can't help right now. Right. And that's not a
That's
true
right.
supporter and a true
Yeah.
soul friend.
And your community is so amazing. It's going to be so amazing. And I can't wait to dive deeper with you in it. It's all about timing.
Yes,
I have, yeah,
absolutely.
yeah.
Yes.
And I think you're already changing so many lives. Just knowing you for the last month and having numerous conversation, you're just such an incredible supporter. Even when I was sitting there in doubt and didn't know which way to go, you're like, Irene, it's going to be okay. We're going to work this through. You will figure it out. And I'm so
Yeah.
grateful for that. And it's, women power, women, human power as well. I mean, I think, it's so important. And I'm so grateful to you as well. It's been a blessing knowing you, and listening to your story and how far you have come and how you have completely redefine what it means to live life to the fullest. Going from corporate to your passion, it's not easy. It's not easy.
Yeah.
And you giving hope to women that is trying to do the same thing, and visibility matters, right? So thank you for being so brave and shining bright in your own journey.
Thank you for your kind words. That means a lot to me. Yeah. I mean,
It's true. It's
yeah,
true.
every day, I just get up and I'm like, I love to just have these conversations. There's a one person listens to this, or even the community I'm creating, it's part of me. There's like, right now I have 13 soul collaborators
Oh,
who are building it with
amazing.
me. And honestly, and I'm just like honored and so grateful and blessed that God is bringing all of this. And sometimes, like you said, I don't know what the next step is. I don't know the how, I don't know when, but I'm following his route and just following my intuition, following my heart. And like one person that can just like us, we're unapologetically authentic, we're sovereign queens. I want to bring
Yes.
in more leaders like us, more women who are also thriving. Like, hey, because if I can do it and Irene can do it, any woman can do it. And it's very
Oh,
possible.
absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
that's what this is for.
Amazing.
Yeah. And thank you so much for this conversation. We'd love to do a quick, fun, rapid fire round. Okay. So just quick answers. A place where you feel most at peace.
At this moment, it's not a place, it's a feeling. And at this moment, anywhere I am, I feel in peace.
Wow. Love that answer. Absolutely. Even now, like we're just at
That's
peace
right.
within, right? Yeah,
Yes, yes,
exactly.
yes. Oh, God, goosebumps.
Yes. Yes. And that itself is a blessing because I see a
Yeah,
lot of people, who are struggling, going through a lot. And, we look at them, we're like, oh my God, but just to be happy and be present with their family, it's a huge blessing.
yes.
And some people just don't understand that. But, you come to that place where you're like, that's enough, right? That's all I really need and just make an impact. So amazing. And if your journey had a theme song, what would it feel like?
I'm a survivor.
Love that. Yes.
Beyond, the Beyonce's and the group. Yeah, I'm a.
Yes, absolutely. We're both survivors of a lot of things, and we're here today. We've made it. We've gotten that breakthrough, and God rewards the people that don't give up, right? And that's what
Yeah,
this journey is about, right? So
yeah.
amazing. Thank you so much
You're
for this powerful
welcome.
conversation. Your beautiful soul. Your story is
Oh,
a powerful reminder that strength doesn't always look loud, right? It sometimes looks like continuing to believe, to heal, and to choose yourself, even after life changes everything. So I know some people listening are going to feel super seen, encouraged, and hopeful
I hope
because of
so.
your honesty, your presence, and your vulnerability today. And for everyone listening, this is your reminder. Your hardest season is not your final identity at all. You're allowed to heal and you're allowed to rebuild. And before we close, I'm excited to share about Sovereign Rise a little bit more. It's officially launching in just a few weeks. We already have 13 incredible soul aligned collaborators helping co create this vision and ecosystem together. So it's not just like any other networking group or anything, it's a very high caliber collective. Literally, what we're talking about is really being super authentic and really speaking from your heart and your voice and leading a business where you don't have to really burn out at all. You can still have a sustainable business without burnout just by sharing your story and by just being yourself, right? And as we build this intentionally, founding membership is currently free. So, for aligned individuals who feel genuinely called to be part of this early collective. So, if you feel aligned to contribute as a collaborator, speaker, strategic partner, anything, I'd absolutely love for you to reach out to me through LinkedIn DM or start a conversation. And thank you so much for being here and for being part of the Voices of Impact journey. And thank you so much, Irene, again. This was just a
Thank you.
wonderful conversation. I'm just very happy. Like, I think you've lit everyone's life up and made it so much brighter.
Oh,
And yeah, and until next time, continue trusting your path, honoring your growth, and creating impact in a way that feels true to who you are.
yes, absolutely.